I was having sex with Alex Borstein one night, and my agent called and said I had a job interview. It was a tough staffing season for me. There was only one job left, and he said there's an animated show written by a 24-year-old kid, and he did it on his kitchen table at night when he was working for Hanna-Barbera. And I said to my agent, I said, is this the end of my career? That's the end. And the next morning I went into the room, and I thought I was being punked because, you know, this dapper guy you see sitting there, he was sitting there with this rugby shirt, and he had these eyeglasses that looked like 2 holes of ice that guys cut to go ice fishing with. Like, that's how big his glasses are. And I thought I was being punked, but we hit it off. He recognized my Rhode Island accent. We made each other laugh, and we've been working together ever since.
Okay, Kara?
I met Seth at Hanna-Barbera also, and he was 23 and had just moved to LA. So therefore, I have no embarrassing stories that I can share.
How about when you and me and Alex and Danny fucked?
Hey, it was good for me, man.
And let me ask you this. Say Seth wanted to move the show to New York or some less desirable city than LA. It's not? Would you go with him? Would everybody go?
In fact, I asked Seth that when I first met, because I was working in New York on a show with Dan Aykroyd. And I'm from the Northeast. I was on Soul Man, yeah. And it had been canceled, you know, and I'd been pantsed, you know, and I still had an apartment back there. And I said to him, I said, we don't have sets. You're most of the cast. You know, why aren't we doing this in New York? But we were all set.
Okay, well, what if it was someplace like Rhode Island?
Oh, I'd be there in a heartbeat, man.
Really? You'd all move to Rhode Island?
Luckily, you can do...
Yeah, but that's not the question. It's a test of your loyalty. That's the question.
Well, then to answer the loyalty question, I'd follow him. I'd follow him anyway.
I don't know if you've been to Rhode Island, but I'm a hot piece of something, right? I would go.
All right.
I'm Mila Kunis in Rhode Island.
And Seth, how do you know yourself, and what embarrassing story can you tell about yourself?
I don't know much about myself. I should know a lot more at my age. It's all just one big desperate cry for attention.
But that's everybody in show business.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not one person, you know, who isn't really in this business because it's about, mommy, look at me, I'm doing it now.
Yeah, that's exactly what, I mean, for me it was like, hey, every girl in high school, look what I'm doing now.
Right.
Wasn't so much about my mom, because I don't want to sleep with my mom, but it was, it
was always animation.
It was, you know, it was. Originally it was...
How old were you when you knew you wanted to do that?
I was about 2, and I was... 2? Yeah. My parents have Fred Flintstones and Woody Woodpeckers from, they don't look, they're recognizable. That's, huh? Right, he existed, yes. But
2 seems very early.
Yeah. It's I guess, I mean, it probably means I've peaked and I'm now on the downswing. But they're you know, they have drawings of, you know, I would see things on television, I'd see cartoons, I would copy them as best I could with my, you know, stubby dwarf hands, and it was all that I wanted to do. Or when I got to college, I was more of a Disney aficionado. I was hell-bent on working for Disney. That wore off, obviously.
But you did start with Hanna-Barbera, right?
I did, yeah. That was
a dream?
Right out of college, yeah. And it was you know, what better place to work, you know, than for the guys who invented the medium of television animation.